Hi everyone, this is Kyle Carlin. This is my Safe School audit video with pictures. Was not able to find my original pictures, so I took some pictures this morning and throughout the day as I had an opportunity to. Roof access was limited, so I wasn't able to get any pictures of those. But I hope you enjoy getting to see the school and admin building where I spend most of my day. All right, Westside School has about 25 students. Demographics for this school are difficult to find due to the students being reported in the responsible buildings, but we do have students from every school in Hayes, as well as Lacrosse High School, Ellis High School, Victoria High School, and Victoria Elementary. For Hayes Public Schools, last year's demographics, we had a little over 3,000 students, about 40% free and reduced lunch, 1% migrant, 6% ELL, and a little over 19% students with disabilities. As for Hayes as a community, we have a little over 2,000 people. Median age is 30. That feels actually a little low when you think about the actual residents, but I believe that the college pulls that down a little bit. Median household income is a little over $45,000. Poverty rate is just below 20%, and median property value is about $167,000. That data comes from Data USA. The data from about Hayes Public Schools came from KSDE and their building report cards from last year. In addition to talking about Westside School, which is pictured here on the left, I'm also going to be talking about Rockwell Administrative Center, which is there on the right, because our Westside students use some of the facilities. They use the gym that's still at Rockwell, as well as a couple learning spaces that are on the third floor. As far as the actual audit goes, both Westside and Rockwell have roofs that are in poor condition. There are frequent leaks, as you can see by some of the pictures here. Again, I wasn't able to get to the roof today, but the pictures here are frequent sites on the top floors of at both of these buildings. There have been recent repairs on the front of Rockwell and around Westside to address window and facing leaks that affected the learning center, the boardroom, as well as garden level office spaces, as we'll see in just a moment. The classrooms at Westside, they have limited space. They do need some updating, but overall they're in pretty good shape. Flooring is in decent shape. There are a couple spots where the carpet's a little frayed, but overall, it's in good working order. Heating and air work most of the time. Plumbing, there seems to be no major issues. But because of the age of the building and the needs throughout the district, both Rockwell and Westside are kind of on a urgency-based repair model where stuff only gets addressed when it reaches a certain critical mass. At Westside, we did install new security doors on the entrance, as seen in this left-hand picture here. All of our schools in Hayes, all the buildings have gotten these new security doors, as well as buzz-in locks. So the secretary in the office is able to buzz somebody in who's at the door. Our staff are able to go in with a proxy card. In addition, at Westside, we also put in a new security or safety delay on our fire exit, and it's also our secondary entrance and exit for some of our staff. We did that because this door opens straight out down this hallway or down this ramp and goes straight into a busy intersection and street. Elopement can be a big thing at Westside, and so this was a way to make sure that all of our students are safe and to give a little bit more time for our staff to respond and get in position to keep people safe. Talked about plumbing, AC, heating, all are in working order, and there are no current construction plans except for in the Learning Center in Rockwell. The Learning Center was actually moved to another building that had just been vacated over the summer. The Learning Center had to move because of the damage you see here. At one point, water was 2-3 feet high there and all through the basement of Rockwell. That caused the damage you see here, as well as some damage in our OTPT office. In the Learning Center, there was mold and other air indoor air quality issues that caused the move with students there as well. There are plans to replace this by gutting and replacing the sheetrock and the flooring. That will also happen in the OTPT office. It's not as bad there. Staff are able to work, but it is going to need attention as soon as the Learning Center gets addressed. All of this work is going to be done by 489 maintenance staff. That approval goes through Rusty Lindsay, who is our director for maintenance or for building and grounds. He'll allocate the staff time, and then Board of Education will approve the purchase of materials. The estimated cost is about $4,000 to $8,000. As far as environmental conditions, in Westside there are really no environmental hazards. There doesn't seem to be any mold. Asbestos seems to be taken care of. At Rockwell, really the only indoor air quality issue is from that mold in the TLC. It's contained right now. Doors stay closed and movement is kept at a minimum, except for me walking through this morning taking some pictures. And then, as we said, the mold caused the Learning Center to move to another building. Deferred maintenance is a hot topic across our district. In Rockwell and Westside, HVAC need updated, windows need replacement, plumbing and roof need updating or replacement. But across the district, priority kind of goes to student attendance centers, and the needs at Westside and at Rockwell aren't reaching the level of some of the other attendance centers for our district. The priority list goes through Rusty Lindsay. Big projects are bid out through our business office, with the low bid getting chosen by the board. Inadequate funding. Really, there's not a lot of inadequate funding except for dating back to the school funding crisis that was caused by the housing crisis and the recession back in 2008. We did reduce maintenance staff quite a bit, and it just takes time to rebuild that. They've hired back, they've tried to rebuild, but they're just kind of behind. And deferred maintenance is just going to be really difficult to catch up to without a bond or some massive inflow of cash and resources that allows for subcontractors and everything else to be able to come in and address it. We just don't have the staff to be able to do everything we need to, nor the money or resources. Training, staff in Hayes seem to be well trained. I didn't really notice any weaknesses with this project or during this project. Rusty Lindsay is the one who handles all the training of maintenance and custodial staff. As far as poor practices, there are no obvious poor practices based on the audit. There is public perception, though, that past administrations failed to maintain schools appropriately, but it really is unclear where those failings were. Looking back, I can't find anything that specifically says, that was a poor way to handle that. The only thing was going back to 2008, 2009 when the school funding took a hit and people just had to respond to that. Other than that, it's really hard to see, at least currently, where those poor practices are. And even with those poor practices, we are three superintendents since that those actions would have taken place. So trying to hold the current administration at blame is really kind of a tough position to be in. But the public does continue to believe that, but it doesn't seem like it's warranted because of failings of, or that the public feels that the current investment is not warranted because of failings of past admin. We've had 2 bond issues fail. We had an LOB fail. It's just been, we haven't had a lot of luck in getting public perception turned around. Part of that is due to a lack of a public relations professional. We have had community involvement. Both of the bond issues included community members, stakeholders on that committee trying to figure out what are the needs in our community, and that really didn't seem to help. I think the last one lost 2-1 in votes. One thing that I think is helping, we're having board work sessions take place in the school buildings instead of just at the board office. We have 2 board meetings a month. One takes place in the board office here at Rockwell, but then the others are rotated through our schools, which I think is a really good thing for our public to see the schools as they really are and how they were just used 2 or 3 hours before that with students. The only cost with public perception would be if we were to hire a PR professional, the salary of that person anywhere between $50,000 $80 grand, depending on what they start at. Morale, student morale doesn't seem to be affected by facilities. Staff morale doesn't seem to be affected either, except for the lack of public interest in addressing the needs. Every time a bond fails, we have a little bit more staff who kind of murmur about, their interest in continuing to work in a community that doesn't seem to support them. Transportation is a real strength for us. Our buses are well maintained. We really haven't had any highly publicized breakdowns or accidents or anything like that. Really good transportation department, really well-trained drivers. One thing we don't transport students except for special ed and those that are 2.5 miles away from the school that they attend. That has reduced the transportation need quite a bit in the last 6 or 7 years since we changed that rule. Ultimately, there's no need to address transportation except for that the transportation workshop building, like their roof is in total disrepair and has a huge need there. All right, that's all of my video. I hope you found this interesting. I hope those of you who happen to have watched both have found the pictures to add something to the conversation. Best of luck. Have a great day.